Magical Memories did a fabulous job on our wedding.
Magical Memories was amazing. We had a wonderful time at our wedding.
Magical Memories was amazing. I had the best time ever.
The wedding could not have been better.
Thank you so much. We had an awesome time.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
And the dance floor never stopped bumping.
DJ is just mind-blowing.
The DJ was off the chart.
Memories, DJ at our wedding. Everyone had a great time. It was an awesome party. Everyone was up dancing. Not a single table.
All night. We
Not a
loved it.
single table had a person at it.
The music was sick. It was all the right songs.
We danced all night, so thank you.
It's great we were able to get everyone of all ages and ranges to get up on the dance floor and dance with us, which was really unexpected.
Everything was wonderful.
Everything went perfect from start to finish.
Thank you, Magical Memories, for making such a memorable wedding.
Our wedding was perfect.
And I couldn't have had a better time. Thanks, Magical Memories.
Thank you.
Everybody had fun.
They were able to bring everyone together, and we really appreciate that.
It was perfect. Thank you.
Amazing.
Definitely magical memories.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Wedding Wednesday. My name is Stephen Burchard. I am the owner here at Magical Memories Entertainment. And today I'm super excited. We're going to be talking about our reception timelines. I think this is one of the most important things that you got to work on when you're looking at your wedding. And today I'm here to talk to you about it and tell you a little bit about what I think, how I think it should be set up, and why, so that way you guys can better, plan for your wedding. This is very important. So thank you for joining us. First thing, I'd love to ask if you guys can drop a like, drop a comment, share this video with anybody that's getting married or any of your friends. That would be fantastic. So I do appreciate it. All right. So I actually set up a quick sample timeline for us to look at today to get a better understanding of how we kind of set it up. And this is I know I said on here reception timeline, but this is kind of going to go more into the details of from when you go to your arrival, your ceremony, that kind of stuff. This is not so there's a difference. This is kind of more on the entertainment, the DJ music side of it. We do also have a timeline that we separate for photographers, which is a little more all encompassing for the day, but this is specifically just for our music end of it. So this would be a sample DJ timeline, just to give a little more idea. So this is a sample DJ timeline, and I'll actually even put that up there so everybody knows the sample DJ timeline. Yeah. So once again, that is what we're at here. This is what our topic is today. It's a sample DJ timeline up here. So once again, what we do is there's a really important reason in how I set up my timeline. And the beginning of it's going to be the same no matter who you're talking to. Obviously, it's very customizable based on what you're looking to do. So if you wanted to have, different kinds of things going on, you can absolutely be a part of different experiences or have different things in there. So at sample timeline, what everything starts, let's assuming that your reception or your ceremony starts at 5:30. What we always do is we always require our staff to be there at least an hour and a half ahead of time. We usually get there 2 hours, maybe more than that. So whenever you have an entertainment, you always want to ask them, what time are you guys planning on arriving? And I think it's really important to set expectations. So that way you're not worrying about it. Nobody's worrying about your ceremony, your venue's not worrying. Where are the guys? What's going to happen? If you set an expectation, that way everybody's on the same page. We're a believer in everybody being on the same page from the rip. So that way there's no confusion. And we always actually send our timelines to the venue ahead of time to make sure they know. So when you're talking to your vendors, first question is, what time do you guys plan on arriving there? That way, you set expectations. Next, you have your guest arrival time. So when you have a ceremony, your ceremony starts at 5:30. That doesn't mean that's when guests will arrive. Guests will obviously be arriving before that point in time. And as an entertainment company, as a DJ company, we always make sure that we're there at least. We're starting to play music at least a half hour ahead of time. So that way, as guests arrive, music is playing. When you're talking to a DJ and when you're working with a DJ, you want to make sure you ask that question because you don't want to have your guests arriving and there's nothing going on. There's no music. There's nothing going on. So I think it's really important to have that going on during that time frame. Now, next we have on here is our cocktail hour. So ceremonies, generally a ceremony lasts a half hour. So some people have a much shorter ceremony, but in general, most places schedule a ceremony for a half hour. Even if it's 15 minutes, that will end up being the cocktail hour start about 15 minutes earlier, and it ends up being a full hour long cocktail hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes if you ending the ceremony a little early. So assuming that it's a standard kind of ceremony, half hour is what you're kind of looking at there. Next we have on here is the cocktail hour. I'm going to go jump to the cocktail hour. Your cocktail hour is a part where the formal photos for your photographer is being taken. Some people don't like to miss out on their cocktail hour, so they want to make sure that they're there. So during the cocktail hour, you could be in a different location. This is important to keep in mind if you're in another location outside the ceremony and the reception location. If you're having music, you want to make sure that you're looking at them. If you need another setup, some venues offer music as like house music, but you definitely want some background music going on during the ceremony. It's very important. At Roll and Cocktail Hour. After that, we obviously invite our guests to come in to the main reception hall, and there's some things that can happen, whether it's plated foods. So this is kind of an important part to figure out what's happening upon arriving into the reception. When you're arriving to the reception, if your DJ is not focused on it as a company, we always make sure we focus to talk to the venue to figure out exactly what's happening. But if you're more involved in trying to put together your own timeline, you want to look at it and say, okay, at 7 o'clock, everybody's going to be arriving in there. There's going to be what's going to happen. What are they doing? Or do they need to take orders? Is there going to be a salad out? Are we doing a buffet style? Or are we doing all of it? So really the question is, what's happening as soon as the guests arrive into the reception hall? They taking their seats, there's something happening. So that way we can kind of, your entertainment can kind of plan and coordinate and direct people in the right way. You got to remember that the DJ needs to know what's going on. So that way because they're the ones with the microphone. So they're the ones that are going to be telling everybody, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Next we have at least on this timeline, 7:10, we're going to jump into our introductions. So this is when we always like to do all of the bride and groom things right in the beginning. So you guys get introduced, everybody's excited, you have your bridal party being introduced, everybody's up, everybody's yelling, everybody's super excited, everybody's having a blast, everybody's getting up there, pumped up, excited, having a good time, we're ready to rock, ready to have fun. The MC is getting people going, and that's how you kick in the party. And as soon as you do that, everybody's going to come over in and we're going to do our welcome. The bride and groom is going to get an opportunity to thank everybody for coming, to thank, the whole crowd for being there. It's a high energy moment, high passionate moment. And it's really a great time to actually have the bride and groom come up, as opposed to having them come up later in the evening. They might have been doing something, might have had, some drinks or whatever. You want to make sure you get the bride and groom as soon as at the highest moment, when to come up and actually to be a part of that. So that's a moment when I would definitely have you guys come up and say a welcome. And after you do the welcome, you have your first dance. I personally like, after you guys have your first dance, either during it to invite the rest of the guests to join you, or at that point, you can do the full first dance and then start a dance set. Because now you guys have welcomed everybody. You have this really high energy when you got welcomed, when you got introduced in, and then you're pulling everybody in to dance. You're going to get, even from the youngest couples to the oldest couples, they're going to want to join you on the dance floor. It's a really important moment and it's kind of almost, breaking the ice for everybody. You can tell, as a DJ, if you're really good at DJ, they can tell people, get on the dance floor. You really want to be involved in this because this is the couple's first dance. You definitely need to jump up on here. So definitely, that's a good opportunity to get everybody on that dance floor. After that, most places, what you're going to start looking at is your first course. Even if you're doing a buffet style or anything like that, this is times to be a first course. And then as you're doing the first course, you're going to, or right before, usually you do your blessings. That's, if you're doing that kind of thing, you can do a blessing at that point in time. And then once you actually have everybody get their first course and sit, I then invite all the toasts to go on. So, because some people with their courses, some people take a little bit longer to eat, some people don't take as long to eat. But that's a good opportunity towards the end of when people eat their first course to actually have the toasts come up and to actually to have everybody say a few words to the bride and groom. That's a really good moment to do that. After you're doing your first courses, you're going to go into another, all of your special dances. So that could be your mother-son dance, your father-daughter dance, cousin dance, whatever it might be. There are a lot of different things that you could possibly do. So then that's a good opportunity to do that, which also now leads you up to your next dance set. Similar to how you were with your first dance, you can now do your next dance set, which will easily be move into it. It'll be easy to move into that as a DJ and music kind of flowing. You'll go from one to the next to kind of flow really nicely. So that's a really good opportunity to do that, to do it right after these dances. You can even, like I said, with the first dance, you can even invite people partially through that dance and say, hey, this is now open for everybody up there. And it breaks the ice. It makes it easy for people to go, okay, I'll bring somebody up. We'll get up and dance, with my spouse. And we'll join the bride and groom on the dance floor. I'll join the father-daughter on the dance floor, whatever it might be. So that way, it's really easy. It's a really easy transition. And then once people are on the dance floor, it's easy to keep them on the dance floor. So that can actually get the party and the dance floor started right away and everybody going really energetic. After that point in time, we're going to go for this is all going to be hyper dependent on when the food is kind of set to go out and what kind of food schedule you have. But after that, you can have dinner, have everybody sit down again, have dinner. after everybody has dinner, we're gonna do our specialties, like whether it be the bouquet toss, the garter toss, the cake cutting, all that kind of stuff happens after dinner. And then once that's all going on, so there's all activities and fun things like that. You can then have people sit down for dessert, because everybody's gonna be kind of standing up and engaging with these different kinds of activities, because that's fun. It's an energetic thing, but it's not requiring people to get up and dance. It's, after everybody eats, you want to give them a little opportunity to kind of digest their food and feel comfortable in that. So I think it's a really important thing. So then you have dessert. Dessert obviously takes a few minutes. And then after you do your dessert, we open up the dance floor again. This is going to be like the party to the end. The only reason I always try to hold the cake cutting towards the end. So I know a lot of venues and a lot of people tell you have all of the stuff up in the beginning and then have like a 2-hour dance set at the end. And I do not agree with this whatsoever. I personally, from my experience, completely think this is the wrong way to go about doing it, because at the end of the day, you're going to have people who are going to stick around just to see all the ceremonial pieces and then cut out and be done. So I think it's really important that if you stick to this kind of a timeline where you keep things a little broken up, so that way there's, people don't get tired, people don't get bored, so it keeps things moving in a nice flow. There's no lulls. That really works out really, really well. And then after, so that I mentioned, if you hold cake cutting until towards the end, so you see 8:45 is cake cutting time frame, that means people are going to wait. Most people are going to wait until the cake cutting. So if you have the cake cutting early in the day, you might have people cut out early. But if you wait for the cake cutting until 8:45, that's still an hour and a half, or hour and 15 minutes till the party's over, the wedding's over. That means most people will hang out until that mark and then go home. So you might just have people dropping off for the last hour, keeps the party really full for the full length of the time. I love that kind of thing. That's obviously really important to me as an entertainer. I'm a DJ. But like I said, my company does also do photography and videography, so we understand the concept. But as an entertainer, you want to make sure you have your people there the entire time. So I keep going with this now. And then the last dance set is the best time. I also like to do the dance set for like about 45 minutes at the end, because everybody now has a lot of time. They've gotten energy. They've had a couple of drinks and then they're ready to dance and have a good time. 45-minute block is a good time frame. I think once you start going over 45 minutes into an hour, 2 hours, all that craziness, then it becomes too long. People get tired. After 45 minutes, after an hour of dancing, it is tiring. At the end of the day, it gets tiring. So it's a reality that people have to realize. It isn't easy. So some people get tired. So obviously some people will have a good time. They can dance for 12 hours, but not everybody can do that. And your older couples definitely can't do that. So if you want to keep people on the dance floor and have a really good flow, I think it's a little bit shorter of a time frame, half hour dance set, 45-minute dance set. Those are usually really good lengths. So this is, like I said, this is generally a timeline, a sample timeline that we give to our clients and kind of give them an idea of what we think works well. I think from a music and a DJ perspective, this seems to be a really good time frame. And yeah, I just got to run through it really quick just so you get one more last idea of how it works. Is start off, you figure out when you want everything to arrive. Then you got to find out when from your vendors when they're all arriving, so nobody has any stress. And then it's also important that you tell your venue when they're arriving, so that way the venue can expect them by a certain time. Some venues expect people 2 hours before. Some venues don't let people arrive until a half hour before. So it's important to know from your vendor, from your DJ, from your entertainment person, what time they're arriving, and then let your venue know as well. I think that's how everybody's on the same page. I highly encourage the two people talking, but some DJs don't do that. Like I mentioned, I personally really like to touch base with the venue directly. Secondarily, understand that the guests start to arrive about a half hour before the ceremony. And then after that, ceremony's best lasts about a half hour. You have cocktail hour. If it's in a different room, make sure you remember that, so that way you can know if you need music. I highly recommend having music. You won't notice it when you have it, but you'll notice if you don't have it. If you notice every restaurant out there's music playing in the background, it's a similar situation. You always want to make sure you have music going on. So then after that, guests enter the reception. This is an important part also to know what happens at this point in time, whether guests are just sitting down at their seats and it's going to be a buffet style. There's a plate of food there already, or are there people walking around taking orders, or what's the next step? After that, very important, you're going to go into your introductions, your welcome. So at this point, when you do introductions, you're talking about bride and groom, bridal party, all those kind of introductions. After you do that, I like to personally say welcome from the bride and groom, because you're getting welcomed into your bridal party as a big bridal party. You have this high energy level, high emotional level. So you want to make sure that, I think it's a good opportunity for the bride and groom to welcome their guests. After this point in time, you do your first dance, and then it's an easy transition from the bride and groom's first dance to invite all of the other guests onto the dance floor and join the bride and groom for the first dance set. After that, you're going to sit down, have your course. Obviously, with the course, before you start eating, you're going to do a blessing if you do blessing. And then you do your toasts. After everybody has their first course, they're sitting, kind of digesting their food. You have your toasts, because some people don't eat as fast and stuff. Then after you do your toasts, you invite everybody up for your special dances, or the key people to do the special dances. After your special dances, once again, it's an easy transition into the dance set. So you invite people to now join the couple on the dance floor, or join the people on the dance floor for a dance set. And this also helps because if things run less, you have a little buffer here as well. So that's what's good about that. Then after you do your dance set, we sit down again for dinner. And then after dinner, once again, it's kind of this buffer period. So you have dinner, and then if people are eating a little bit longer, a little bit less, you have the bouquet, garter, and cake cutting, dessert time. And then the last set of the night, the last part of the night is the dance set, and that's going to go for about 40 minutes. And then once again, that's because if people are going, if people are waiting for that cake cutting, because a lot of people wait for that, they're going to leave at that point. You're keeping people to pretty much the end of the party. You're not losing, a chunk of your guests halfway through the party. And that's the worst. So there you go. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our timeline. This is a sample timeline that we put together. I think it's really good. It's what over the last couple of years how we've kind of run most of our events, most of our weddings. I'll give it to you a little big. What I'll even do, I think I can post this in our timeline, but in our comments, so I'll even include that for you guys as well, so that way you can get an idea of it and you can see it. If you're putting together your own timeline, if you're working with some other DJ company and they don't have a specific timeline that they can send you, this is one I highly recommend. I think it works really well. And then, that's about it. If you guys don't have entertainment yet, or if you're looking for a photographer, a DJ, photo booth, any of that fun stuff, please consider Magical Memories Entertainment. That is what we do, is who we are, and we're here to help you in any way we possibly can. I am a firm believer in timelines being a super important part of the planning process. So if you guys need help, have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. My name is Stephen Bouchard, and I am once again here with Magical Memories Entertainment. I'm the owner of Magical Memories Entertainment, and I look forward to being part of your wedding day. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday for Wedding Wednesday.